the only answer is that he is an alien and he has been blessed with these abilities.
Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports. We got the team now. This is all we got. Self, Frankie, Trent, President's Cup week, football. It's now officially fall. It's autumn. We got some Rory McIlroy battle, Billy Horschel. We got all kinds of video series. We got Breaking 85 is premiering. Episode 1. I believe that bad boy's coming out on Wednesday. We could talk about the episode 3 of the Hater series, which was probably the first time we've had someone that was genuinely hated and appeared like most would maybe think a hater would appear in real life. We got the Barstool Classic concluding. So we got a lot going on. We had O's the Mentalist. Trent and I got pretty pretzeled last night. We're recording this on Sunday by your guy, Frankie. We're very much bummed out that you weren't there for this because he directly affected myself, and he kind of worked the room. And then Trent and I caught one of the funniest things I've ever seen when he left. But yeah, we had a hell of a weekend out here in Arizona. Shout out to DraftKings.
Yeah, you guys were at the DraftKings event. I was out in Austin. We had Pup Punk. Shout out to PFT, who did Freebird for the first time in his entire life live. It's something he's been working towards for a long time. Had his brother up there. It was quite the scene. PFT and his brother, and then Robbie Fox and his brother all playing Freebird together. It was a family affair, and it was cool. And I really was happy to be there for it. I got to sing the intro. Hopefully people get to see this video. I think they're going to put it together like a movie. Nick Hamilton said once that it concluded, it felt like something that should lead off like a documentary, essentially. Like this was a moment. But I am pissed I missed O's the Mentalist because that guy, we've said oftentimes that there's only two things at play here. He's either doing real magic, and that is an issue which needs to be addressed immediately, or this man is swindling the country and every single person in front of him to just do what he pleases. Like he is forcing you to answer and comply with whatever he wants you to do, and then you complete his trick for him, which is also an issue. So there's really no positive that comes out of O's the Mentalist aside from minor entertainment that comes right before the fear.
So Riggs and I talked about this yesterday, and I'm now on the side of that he's a magician and he is doing real magic. We even said like he is the first of potentially an alien race that has been put here because, and we've talked a lot about this O's Perlman on the show, excuse me, and just a lot of videos. Everyone's seen the videos. Everyone's seen the football videos, the NFL videos, all of them. We've all watched them. Frankie has talked about it extensively on this podcast. And to see it in person is terrifying because it's real. What he's doing is real. And it's like, I watched him walk up to our table. So before he goes on stage at this DraftKings event, he walks around basically and just messes with people. Whoever he runs into, he starts doing magic on them. And everyone was sitting at different tables. Riggs and I were at a table. He came up to our table, said to Riggs, think of a number between 1 and 100. And he just, boom, he guessed that Riggs was thinking 66. He wrote it on a piece of paper. No problem. And that's where because we think the other part of what it could potentially be is he has talked to everyone beforehand and they're all in on it. Like, all right, this person's going to think of their old crush and this is their name. And he's paying them or he's giving them some sort of incentive. But I know Riggs is just as scared of this guy as I am. And I watched him do it. Not only did he guess the number that Riggs was thinking, Riggs was originally thinking the number 12 and then changed it and thought 66. Perlman on the piece of paper had 12, crossed out 12 and put 66. You understand what I'm saying? It's, bro, I don't know if I can sit here and go through all the things that he did because, audio, like play-by-play running commentary magic tricks aren't as entertaining as when you're there. But all I'm going to say is that the things that he performed last night are not to be believed. And the only answer is that he is an alien and he has been blessed with these abilities and he's the first one. And in 200 years, people are going to be like, there's a bunch of O's Perlmans running around. It just so happens that the answer to the question of how is he doing this is that he's just doing it because he has that ability. Like I have the ability to walk upstairs and drink a glass of water. Oz Perlman can guess the crush you're thinking about from 20 years ago.
Trent and I got to the point of conversation about this throughout the night where we said, we need to alert the world about this guy, because we said when the aliens come and they're taking over and people are like, holy shit, how come we never saw a sign? Like, there's a sign. There's Oz Perlman is just on TV.
We're parading him around.
Doing this. I mean, dude, what more do you need? And like Trent said, it's one thing if I think that maybe he planted a couple people and I'm watching this fucking show from afar. Even if I'm there in person, I don't know every other person. So he's claiming that this person guessed that person's fantasy football pick and direct amount of money that the guy wagered on him out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, that seems crazy, but I'm not one of those two people. What he did to me, Frankie, was insanity. He 1 through 100. I don't even, if the other answer is that he does all kinds of research somehow, like he's a fucking walking background check and he does all kinds of research on every person that's going to be at an event, he still wouldn't have come up with 66, because my number that I use for everything, like my email address, I throw like 18 in there. That was my like hockey number. And the number before it was 18 was 12. So when he said pick a number 1 through 100, my brain quickly went to like, my first number was 12. Then I changed to 18 in high school and college. But my favorite player growing up was Mario Lemieux. So I'm going to go 66. I thought all of that, in like 2 seconds in your head, you think that real quickly. And I was like 66. And like 30 seconds later, he just presents a piece of paper to me that he had showed everyone else at the table, in which he had written the number 66 after crossing out the number 12. And I mean, what? Like, what is that? So the only answer is one answer. He's just, Trent said it right. He's just capable of this. It's just,
but he's also just getting it correct all the time. That's the crazy part. Because what's the math on this? Like that. So he had a 1% chance, right? I'm assuming a 1% chance to get that correct. And then really it's a 0.5% chance because he guessed both numbers correctly. So, I mean, for him to correctly or to consistently guess these things that are at a 1%, less than 1% clip, and walk around from table to table confidently, to be like, what's this number in your head? Oh, don't worry about it. I already have it written down on this napkin here. That's nuts. Now, there's a difference between, I've seen, we don't have to keep the whole show on Oz Perlman, but we kind of have to. I've seen people, when he's been on like America's Got Talent and shit, they debunk or they tell you how he does the trick. And there's this one where like he's writing on a piece of paper, or he has like what was in this person's wallet like written down, and they show like a little thing on a thumb and a special piece of paper on the outside of the card, and he's able to, as he's turning it around, like basically rewrite what you wrote on your paper, whatever it might be. They figured it out, right? And like I could see that it's a sleight of hand idea. There's not, when you're just telling someone, I'm going to stand over here, you're going to stand over there, think of something, and then I'm going to tell you what you're thinking of. There's no sleight of hand there. There's no trick. Hands are behind the back, eyes are closed, and we're just talking brainwaves here.
No, he does very little of that sleight of hand. Like what he will do is have the person he's asking, like have them close their eyes and be thinking of whatever he's trying to get out of them. Write it down on the dry erase board, show it to the whole crowd, and then have the person with their eyes still closed say, who are you thinking of? And the person says Jess, and the board says Jess already.
That's the new shit that he's been doing. Dude, that no one understands how he's doing it.
And
there is no answer.
Again, I'm not going to, I can't wait till I see you in person next, because I want to tell you all of the things that he did. I don't want to do it on this podcast because it's just not as good, but there are things that he did last night that are inexplicable.
We saw it on, yes, I can't wait to hear that. We saw it on live television on Hard Knocks. He brought players up and put them in the order that would spell out the New York Jets. We saw it. You know what I mean? Like we've seen this guy.
The finale that he pulled off last night got a mix of a standing ovation, a raucous standing ovation, and people being a bit afraid of what happened.
running for the exits.
I was thinking that, I was saying that to Riggs last night too. Like, how far does he get before the audience flips and everyone's just afraid of him? Because I was afraid of him last night. I stayed at the Biltmore in Arizona. Shout out to DraftKings. Shout out to the Biltmore, a beautiful resort, just an incredible property. And where the DraftKings dinner was right behind my room. And I was on the first floor and I had a window out. I had like a little balcony area or whatever. And I saw Perlman out there before, like running around. And I was like, I don't want to go to this thing tonight. As nice as this has been, as great as DraftKings has been.
It looks like him too.
I did not want to go to that dinner because I was afraid of him. And
no, none of it's good, man. None of it's good.
It's scary. So, but yeah,
no,
I mean, we're definitely going to do something, I hope, in the future with him, because I just want you, Frankie, to see him live and in person. And it's going to fucking break your brain.
It's incredible stuff.
I don't think we're too far from someone just has to lock him up, right?
Just lock
he's
him
national. He's a national security threat.
So Riggs brought him on stage last night because we were sort of like hosting the thing with DraftKings, and Riggs straight up was like, "This guy ruined my night 10 minutes ago, so I'm going to bring him on stage, and he's going to ruin all your night." And he's so charismatic. He's got jokes. He's very personable. But yeah, he doesn't miss. And I go back quickly, and then we can move on from Oath Perlman, because we can't be an Oath Perlman podcast. But another thing we were saying last night was, if he messes up one time, his career is over. He said that himself. He opened up the Super Bowl last year, 2 years ago, on TV. He was like, 30 million people are watching me. If I mess up, I'm a has-been. I'm a nobody. And he just never misses. He didn't miss once last night.
Right.
So,
right.
I don't
know. Why is he not running for president? You know? Like, this guy, imagine him in all these meetings and shit. You want to talk about power? You want to talk about throwing other world leaders off? He's sitting at the end of a war room table, across from China and, the Middle East. Everyone's getting together.
China.
Yeah. And he's just like, what are you thinking over there? I already know it. And they're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, think of your favorite fruit. And the guy's like, just thinking about something. And he just shows them, and everyone starts whispering in each other's ears, like, we got to get the fuck out of here.
And then we're number one again.
Keep the oil, keep all the processors, make your phones and all this shit. We're out of here. Because I don't like the fact that he thought about this fruit that Nanny used to give me when I was a child. Okay. Because I'm done with Oath Perlman, the president. I'm done with him. You guys deal with that shit. Oh my God. I mean, that's how you fix politics. You put a magician in there.
So he had the 8:15 to 9 p.m. slot at this dinner, finished right at 9 p.m., like on the dot. Like, it's not going to surprise you, but he finished right at 9 and then got off stage, didn't talk to anybody, had two bags next to the stage that both had straps, like they were both little computer bags, grabbed them, and then ran away. Dude, it's one of the great regrets of my life that I didn't get a video of it. But he didn't talk to anybody. He was like, I'm done. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to grab my two bags. And Riggs and I watched him run into the darkness.
He ran literally into the darkness, Frankie. He didn't go towards a door. It was just this dark corridor of the Biltmore Hotel, and he was just gone.
Oh, he's gone.
Like, he's just gone.
He popped up in like the Super Mario world or something. You know what I mean? Like, this guy, there is no dimension that he can't get into. So it's unfortunate. I'm jealous, but I'm also glad that I wasn't part of that, because there's no way I'd be sleeping for the last couple of nights. Like, when I saw him on TV, I couldn't sleep. I mean, even in my own home, like people are done listening to me talk about O's. So you guys kind of just got me going again. I won't sleep tonight.
He's so in my head that I was texting you, Frankie, being like, I'm scared of this guy. I don't want to be here.
Crazy.
That I thought he was going to come up to the table and be like, pull up those texts that you just sent. Let's see them.
Yeah.
Let's see those fucking things. So he's great.
You know
he's great.
There's jokes, right? He is doing some sort of a trick. So, like, that's the part that keeps me up at night. It's like, we are joking where we're like, this guy is otherworldly. If he is a human being, which is insane that we're even putting the option that he might not be out there. Like, if he is a human being, what the fuck is he actually doing? Like, there is no explanation. Chris Angel can't come on this podcast right now and tell us how he's doing that. You can't convince me that he can. Just like guessing numbers. There's a format to that. There's a way to learn that.
I don't even know why we're still debating this. He is an alien.
It's over.
He is doing. These are things that he can just do.
Correct.
Like, I can do 2 + 2. He can do what he's doing, and There's no other explanation. So, but he puts on a hell of a show. Everybody leaves like, wow, that was worth everything.
He was really good, dude. And then he was just gone. He did Waddle ran with all his bags. And it was just gone. Like he's catching a flight. This episode is presented by Chevy. Get the crew together, head off to the course in the new 2024 Chevy Traverse. This thing is awesome. I've been seeing them in the wild, which I love every single time. Cargo room. This thing's got 3-row seating, so obviously tons of room. Golf bags, kids, families, pets, whatever you got, they got room for that. But the big thing is tech. The Traverse has elevated the tech game for a 3-row SUV. They've got the best-in-class 17.7-inch diagonal color touchscreen. Fantastic machine here, gentlemen.
Go build a little a trim. Build your own trims. Find your own schemes, your color schemes. Find your own colorways. Figure it all out on your own. This is what for me is the most exciting part about buying a car. Is you go on Chevy.com, you go look at the new Traverse, and you make it the way you want to make it. You're showing it to your wife, showing it to your husband. You're like, look at this thing. Don't we need this? Shouldn't we get this? You're looking at all the safety stuff. You're looking at all the technology. It's all making sense. And then you just customize it the way you want. That's, to me, that's it. That's the golden ticket. I love it. There's no better time.
It's like picking head covers. Don't just be like the guy who's got normal ass head covers. Go in there, customize that thing, make it yours. Be like, this is my Chevy Traverse. This is my golf bag. You pull up, you see it, you're like, that's mine. I know that's mine because I customize it. And you can do that with these Chevys. You can go online, Chevy.com, customize it, make it look great, and make it yours.
Yeah, Chevy.com/Traverse. That's where you're going. You can build your own. You can learn more. It's a great thing to just have appear in your browser. Trust me, it looks great on there. They've got this right on the rock, the mountain, the trees. It's awesome. Go to Chevy.com/Traverse. Build your own. Learn more. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. Breaking 85 is here. I think Wednesday. I mentioned earlier, but the episode is coming. Trent famously broke 90 with an all-time chip. There's the plaque. I love all the people that send you videos and pictures of them out there. Now we've determined that your next goal, Trent Ryan, is to defeat the number 85 on a golf course.
Yeah. Coming out Wednesday, me and Frankie are back. We're at Eisenhower Red, a place that is very special to Frankie Borelli. Yeah, 85. It's all real golf, but this is real golf. To go out there shooting 84, you got to make limited mistakes. So, watch the video. People who've been watching the whole way, the journey continues. I hope you continue watching with us. And it's, you get what you get. It's Breaking 85. It's me and Frankie. Mr. Borelli makes an appearance. Actually, a lot of people from the Long Island area make an appearance. It feels like a Seinfeld episode in some respects. So check that out. And I just hope people watch it. Like every time one of these episodes come out, all the way back to Breaking 100, I hope people watch, and I hope they keep watching.
Yeah, I mean, I think coming off of Breaking 100 with Jerry, people loved that combo. Obviously, it works. The Trent and me kind of thing, going out there trying to achieve goals for Trent Ryan, has really struck a chord with the American golf community. Everywhere we go, breaking 90, breaking 100. People love to watch guys try and achieve goals, and that's something that we've really harnessed here with Trent. And now Jerry. It's great. So yeah, I'm really excited to be starting this new journey. Who knows how long it'll be? Maybe it's one episode. It's really hard to really talk about this. Maybe he just shot at 81. You don't really know. It was a very, very funny. It's also it's as public of a golf course as we've done in a long, long time, and it was great to get back to the roots. We do a lot of country clubs. It's way easier for us to film. A lot of these guys are very, very accommodating with us. A lot of the superintendents here, specifically here on the Long Island area. You got our guy Luke, you got Dan at Colonial Springs. Like a lot of these guys, Gene, they are always looking out for us to be able to film our content. And it's just way less traffic at these golf courses, way less players, and we're not in anyone's way. We go out there, we do our thing during a dead time. A public golf course is way different. It is way different. Yeah. You've got guys that have been playing at the Eisenhower Red for 35 years. They have the 8:45 tee time. They book it every single Tuesday before the next Tuesday. They all get online. They get their leisure passes. They sign into the Eisenhower Park website, and they lock in their tee time, and they sit in the parking lot after, and they have jokes, and they're these retired, just like local East Meadow guys, and they don't give a fuck that we're out there with our drones and our GoPros and our little pants, and we're walking around and we're parading around a golf course. It's way different out there, but it's great. Once we're out there, that's where I learned how to play golf. When my dad would come home and be like, "You want to go golfing tomorrow?" There was nothing better than like that early morning. The fog was kind of like that morning dew was still on the ground. That morning fog was still in the parking lot. We'd get to Eisenhower. They have that little shack right in the middle of the parking lot that you had to go to get the tee time. All these older guys were around. I'm looking up to everyone physically because I'm like 12 years old, just learning how to play golf. Usually we play the blue, but sometimes he'd book the red, and the red's on the whole other side of the property. It felt cool. It felt different. The carts were the motor carts on the red. They were electric on the white and the blue. So like they had a different sound. They had a different smell. I fell in love with golf at Eisenhower Red. That's where I fell in love with it. Me and my dad would do a putting contest on the putting green right there, and we would sneak on to like the first hole at 7:30 at night. The sun was barely peeking over the trees, and we would hit a couple drives, and then we'd go out and get them, and we'd come back to the car and I'd be like, holy shit, that is the coolest sport ever. There's something different about it. The smell, the equipment, that just everything about it was cool to me. It was different. Like it wasn't baseball where you were getting dirty with your friends and you were just like trying to hit a ball. It was different. It had like I don't know, it was like eerie to it. And that I always think about Eisenhower Red like that. Like it's just got this mystical feeling to me. So going back there and playing for the first time for me in probably like 8 or 9 years, that was the first time I played Eisenhower Red. It was really special. It was fucking awesome to be out like hitting all the same shots. I made my first eagle there on like the 11th hole, and I showed Trent where I did it. I'm like, I remember standing here with my dad. I was like 15 years old, and I drained my second shot. It was like insane. I turned around, I'm like, I just fucking made that. And we're like crying on the fairway. It's a cool spot. So yeah, I hope everyone that watches it, especially in the Northeast area, that you've played Eisenhower, you enjoy that. And if not, come here. If you go play Bethpage, make Eisenhower one of your stops. I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to. It's a really cool routing. They had the PGA Championship back in the 1920s. They had a bunch of LPGA events there. It's a great spot, great course. So go watch the video for many reasons.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
President's Cup week, huge week. We only have two team, like national pride team events in the world of golf that are at the men's highest level. We have two of them. It's the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup. Is this the Ryder Cup? No. I know people like to shit on the President's Cup for all kinds of reasons, but I was looking through a bunch of it today, and I was getting pretty excited because I was looking at the fact that when you go through these rosters, we've got Jim Furyk, obviously the captain of the U.S. team. Kiz is up there. There's a bunch of people that are going to be up there. We got Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, Wyndham, Cantlay, Sawhith, Keegan, Burns, Finau, Harmon, Henley, Max Homa, all going to be on Team USA, all rocking the gear, all got the Team USA bags, all the hats, the polos, the pullovers. It's going to be pullover season up there. And then the international team, they're not messing around either. And they're not clearly as deep, and they're missing some players, which we can get into because of Liv and all that bullshit. But I mean, Hideki, Adam Scott, Sung Jae, Tom Kim, Jason Day, and then they've got Bezaden Hoot. They've got 3 Canadians. They've got Connors, Mackenzie Hughes. They've got Taylor Pendrith. And then they got Siwoo Kim. Minwoo Lee's going to be out there. So look, I understand it's not the Ryder Cup. People don't get as hyped up for it. Fine. But we're going to be up in Canada. There's 3 Canadians. Mike Weir's the captain of their team, Masters winner. He famously beat Tiger in Canada in a singles match in the President's Cup. So I think similar to like when Trent and I, when we went to the Solheim Cup last week, going into this, it doesn't feel like there's as much hype, clearly. Saw some pictures today of them out at the Royal Montreal, and it was like, oh, where'd those come from? That's interesting. Almost didn't feel like it was coming, see it coming, whatever. I think once we get into things, I think it's going to be pretty fucking fun to see the guys out there hooting and hollering, high-fiving, caddies rocking all the gear, a little bit of contentiousness. In 2019, when the whole thing was in Royal Melbourne, remember Patrick Reed's caddy got fucking kicked out of the event for like punching a fan. There's all kinds of
broke that story.
crazy
Shout out to us.
We did.
He did break that story. So in Montreal, not that far away. There's going to be a lot of Americans up there as well. The Canadian fans are going to be rallying around their captain and the 3 Canadians that are on their team. There's some big names that are not the Canadian guys like Adam Scott, Hideki, major winners. I just think it's going to be more fun than we're maybe prepared for going into these 4 days of team golf.
Yeah, it's high stakes, big names. It's a city that feels like a European city from what I've heard. Montreal is supposed to be fantastic.
Little French Canadian.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I mean, I don't know why anyone would not want to watch something like this or get kind of hyped up for it. You are getting more golf after all the majors are over. You're getting to watch some of the best golfers in the world compete for their countries and really go head to head and battle. You're going to see Scotty Scheffler with meaningful putts. That's fun. That's a good thing, right? Like there's no negative towards that. I don't know why you have to always hold it to this higher standard. Why can't there be like a 1A, 1B, or number 1, number 2, an A, a B, whatever it might be in international competition? Why can't this just be another really cool thing we get to watch when we're waiting for the Ryder Cup or whatever on the years that it's not there? I think it's great. I think it's going to be super fun, and I can't wait to see how USA dominates because, I mean, that's what they did when Tiger Woods was at the helm of this thing. That's what it felt like.
Golf fans are always demanding more team golf, and here you go. This is one of the biggest team golf events you can have. I just looked on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Team USA is doing that. minus 270. They are minus 270. So heavy favorites, as one would imagine. But, I mean, I'm going to watch. And like I said, team golf is always fun. People want it. You're rooting for your country. What's better than that? Just throw it on this weekend. Well, obviously there's a lot of college football and NFL going on, but if you got your 3rd or 4th TV, throw a little President's Cup on there. Like Frankie said, Scotty Scheffler's playing golf. At the bottom line, if you like watching top tier, top talent golf, they're there. All the Americans are there. All the big time Americans are playing in Montreal this weekend. So, I'm very excited for the event. Actually, I think it's going to be great.
I looked up a little bit of history. United States of America is 12-1 all time. There was a tie in 2003. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the highlights of this, but this is when Tiger Woods and Ernie Els were chosen as basically chosen as like their knights of their country to go out and fight on their team's behalf after a tie. And they just went mano-a-mano in match play. And dude, they were making putt after putt to keep this thing going as the only 2 guys that were playing. And it got to a point where Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player, it was getting dark. They just said, we're going to call this thing a tie, dude. We're just going to call it a tie because they kept making putts. It's one of the most insane, maybe underrated things that's happened in the world of golf was the 2 of these guys battling each other in 2003 and ultimately ending up in a tie. But 12-1 all time. There was that tie in 2022, which was 2 years ago in Charlotte. The U.S. won by 4 points. It really wasn't that close. But in 2019, only won by 2. In 2017, won by 8. That was where Daniel Berger had the quote on Saturday being like, yeah, this thing's maybe over, but we're up by however many. We're going to be up by more after tomorrow. In 2015, the U.S. only won by 1 point. I believe that's when it was in South Korea. And so if you look, the last couple that have been not in America, a 1-point victory, a 2-point victory. So things can get incredibly tight when you're on kind of foreign soil. But I looked up too. The event has raised $32 million in the first 10 events. It raised $32 million for charity. So a nice little touch there. And then the next 3 venues are at Medina in 2026. Then at Kingston Heath, which is the first golf course that we played when we were in quite the loopy state, when we got off our 24 hours of travel in good old Australia, Melbourne, and then good old Bellerive in St. Louis in 2030 will be hosting, which that just like went over my head and I forgot about that. So President's Cup, if you really want to get into kind of what could have been with the President's Cup, you just look at some of the names on Live that are missing. And I mean, if you added Cam Smith, Abe Answer, Joaquin Neiman, they've even got a couple guys that are like right in that tier below of Brandon Grace, Louis Oosthuizen, that are guys that could have been on this international team. And then obviously from the U.S. side, you could throw in Bryson, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson as just some absolute studs and big names in the world of golf that are not there. But regardless, it's going to be a hell of a week, and we got team golf, which, like Trent said, we always want more team golf.
Is it in the rules that if there's a tie, you pick a champion and they go out mano a mano, or is that something they thought of on the fly? Like I think it should maybe be, if it's tied, you send the captains out there and then they battle it out. Why not?
I really don't know if they just didn't have a rule and they came up with that rule on the spot. I'm really not sure.
I love it. I want that to be known. If it's a tie, you either send the captains out there to play match play, or each team picks a champion and they got to go. It's like some Game of Thrones shit. I like that.
Yeah, it does feel Game of Thronesy.
It also makes the captaincy super important.
Right. You need somebody who can potentially need to play.
This is a live events podcast. We just love going to events. Love it. We talk about it all the time. Comedy shows we discuss on this. Games, football's on. Hockey's coming back. I'm watching. I think the St. Louis Blues gave up. They scored an own goal, which turned out to be the Utah franchise's first goal in franchise history. I know it's only preseason, but there's all kinds of stuff going on is what I'm saying. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Their brand new Game Time Picks feature. They're making it even easier to get to a game. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff, all the fluff, filters it all out to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. We love Game Time. We love going to events, boys.
You got big games coming up. You got the beginning of hockey going on. You've got football is just flying. College football, NFL. I'm looking right now at Game Time in New York City, specifically the Game Time picks, the GT picks. Cowboys at Giants, $67 at MetLife Stadium. Thursday Night Football. The Cowboys versus the G-Men. The Cowboys just lost tonight. The Giants just won. The Giants are coming in off a short week, thinking they can take on their arch nemesis, the Cowboys. It's going to be great. $67 on Game Time. The Broncos at the Jets for upcoming Sunday. That's $100. You can get in there for $100. The Jets. There's never been more hype around the Jets since Joe Namath. I mean, this is, I'm talking $100 to get into a Jet game. You got Aaron Rodgers, who's leading our team at MetLife against the Broncos. It should be a winnable game. Let's go. Bo Nix, come on. We got Aaron Rodgers. Go on Game Time. Get into these events. No matter where you are, there's going to be an event. There's going to be a concert. There's going to be a show. There's going to be a game. Check it out. The GT picks. It takes all the fluff out of there. It takes all the mess. It gives you the best deal possible. Makes it easy, simple. Game Time.
Download the Game Time app today. Okay, download it today. Game Time app. Use the code FORE, F-O-R-E, to easily score great deals with the new Game Time picks. What time is it? Game Time.
You said Tiger Woods' name, and I was just thinking about, we see a lot of Tiger Woods content, and or maybe I said Tiger Woods' name, and I've been thinking about it. But I saw a TikTok that came across. I don't know if Alex can play this. This is a little, yeah, you can. So right before you play it, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, where he talks about the Olay swing.
I already know I haven't seen this.
All right, so he's on some, I don't know if it's Golf Channel or whatever. This is back in the day, but he's talking about how younger players basically get too twitchy and they go Olay, and it's Tiger trying to make a joke, oh, you mean the Olay swing? And he's basically moving his hips before his hands, which to my knowledge is what I thought every single pro and good golfer aspires to do. Isn't that all we hear about, is to have your hands kind of drag behind and get your hips through everything, and then all of your weight goes forward and the club will just get zeroed out at the bottom? Watch this clip and tell me that it's not confusing to you, where he's he wants to get his hands ahead.
Championship, right? Me, I've always been a person who would come down and fire the hips so hard and so fast the club would lag behind me. I try and feel that my arms beat my body down. I try and feel like my arms come down first and exit through the ball first, and my hips don't move. It doesn't even come close to that. I used to have a problem of laying the club down like this, then also popping out of it with my body, and my spine angle would change, and I'd chase my right hand. That's the shot I had.
A lot of the changes, Peter, the Tiger's made, and he had to get stronger to make them, and he really has. He's, 20 pounds heavier now than when you first came on the tour?
Yeah, I came on the tour at 158, now I'm 180.
A normal swing now with your driver, how much shorter do you feel you are than in 96 when you turned pro, off the tee?
Probably a good 10 to 12, 15 yards.
Yeah.
All right, that didn't really show. There's another part where the guy grabs his club, whatever, and he's I'm trying to get my hands ahead of me before I make any movement. And it's just at what point, and did golf change?
No. So the only thing there, I 100% get what you're saying. Luckily, I've been through this a little bit myself when people try to teach me, is that Tiger is just saying Tiger is so much different of a golf swing than we have that he's trying to do the opposite of what we're trying to work on. And what he did say during that clip is he goes, it obviously gets nowhere close to that. So what he's saying is like, no. He's like, my hips still fire and my hands come in way later. But he's so much more athletic and golf swing gifted than we are that his hips are they rip through so fast like Rory's do, that his hands are so far behind. Whereas, like, dude, you look at, like, especially me and Trent Daddy, like, we're doing everything in our fucking human power to get our hips to turn.
Well, dude, I said, you watch any side-by-side angle of us or like whatever, the head-on angles where it's like, we're just all arms and we're making contact and our hips haven't moved an inch. And then I saw that clip where he's like, I'm trying to throw my hands out before I make any movements. So you're just saying that's a mental thought, almost like for us where, like, a guy will say, hey, swing 50%. And it's like, it's not actually 50%. He's just thinking, get your hands down quicker before you twitch.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, I'm not
no, that makes more sense.
Riggs Barstool over here. But I will say, like, I noticed too, Tiger. You ever notice him do before he hits some shots where he swings? He does his practice swing like this almost, where he's like swinging across like that, trying to feel that little cut. Dude, that motherfucker ain't swinging outside to in on the golf ball. I'll tell you that much. Like, he fucking shallows that thing out. So I think that's got to just be some crazy exaggeration feel. That's not, there's no way he's actually doing that.
Yeah, I feel like when Rogan said, he said like the wrong clip, but it's like there's a one where he kept saying, I'm olaying. And he does it like with a little accent. He's like, I'm olaying. I'm like, well, Tiger, like, you're olaying unbelievably. You got to see, even when he was doing like the practice, his whole entire torso was facing the target and his club was all the way back here. I'm like, that's what Tillery was begging Trent to do. Dude, begging.
I was going to say, I've been going to Cuscowella and seeing John Tillery for 4 years now. And he tells me the same thing every time I'm there. He's saying, get your hips through, stop throwing your hands at the ball. You're all arms. You have no lag. You have no load. You have none of that.
Nothing.
And Tiger's like, I got too much lag. I got too much load. My hips are gone and my hands are still back here. Yeah, I think it is what Riggs is saying. We're dealing with a different golf individual. And it's
early 2000s Tiger was trying to reinvent the swing so that he could kind of reverse it. He was firing too quickly. That's nuts.
Right. Young Butch Harmon there was like, yeah, your hips are way too fired through. Your hands aren't even close.
Yeah. I was just scrolling through TikTok and I saw that and I watched it like 3 or 4 times and it was just one of those things. I couldn't believe it. I was like, has golf, like, has the thought around the swing changed that much where it went back to what he wanted to go away from? But nope, he was just that good.
I mean, look, again, I'm not some swing guru. That's the best that I could think he probably meant about all that. Trent and I got a nice new swing thought from one of the guys playing in the DraftKings Invitational this past weekend here at TBC Scottsdale. He was telling us in the golf swing, you got to go from tall to small, Frankie. And what that, I think, meant was, like, in your backswing, you get as tall as you can with your hands and your club and everything and then as you hit the ball, you get, like, compact and as small as you can. We're
going to see Riggs jumping to the sky on his backswing and coming all the way down to a kneel.
We ripped a couple of drives and it worked. I mean, that's how it goes with a tip like that. First of all, it rhymes, which is huge. And then once you try it a couple of times and it works, you're like, well, this is my new swing. So, yeah, tall to small, we hit a bunch of drivers on that 18th hole being like, this is it. Like, breaking 70s coming for me soon if I can perfect this.
Oh, man. You can really, nowadays, I mean, I feel like even 10, 15 years ago, once golf was really like, infomercials were kind of hitting the screens and golf dads were sitting there watching TV, my dad was getting the Spin Doctor sold to him and all these tips and all these swing thoughts. Now, I mean, and then obviously the golf magazines forever have had them, the late 90s, early 2000s, any golfing dad that was sitting on a toilet was reading they were ripping some sort of tip out of a magazine or a newspaper and they were putting it in their wallet and they were showing it to their buddies the next time they played. My dad was highlighting stuff all the time when I was growing up, ripping things out. All you heard in the bed, just ripping out golf magazines. And now you can't get away from them. You can't get away from swing tips, man. If it hits your algorithm, like I watched that video, I just put that on everyone's radar just now. I guarantee the rest of the day you're going to be seeing swing shit on your Instagram, your TikTok, your ex, whatever you want to call it. It's inevitable that it's just going to flood your feed. And then you don't know where to go from there. What do you take in? You know, I just did a Barstool Golfs with Dana, and he was like, it's actually an amazing episode. Shout out to Dana Beers. It's coming out soon.
Did you guys chug some beers?
He was saying, Dana Beers, yeah. No, he drank some Trulies. It was great. It was awesome.
Nice.
He didn't drink many beers. He drank some Trulies, he just did the thing. You had to make him do the thing.
Of course.
Yeah. But he's like a show pony. You just throw him something, you're like, drink this. You know, he's just like, drink this fast. Drink this fast on camera. And he's like,
but
shit.
He doesn't run away from it every day. He's on like day 70 of trying to chug a beer with Steve Austin. Stone Cold.
He's incredible at chugging too.
He's the best.
But he just asked, he's like, oh, what was the one thing that like clicked? Like, what was the one swing thought or whatever? And he's talking about like fixing Frankie and Dr. Brett McCabe and all this stuff. And there are a lot of things that attribute to getting better. But I was also saying to him, I'm like, dude, sometimes it's all just too much. Like, we're meeting a million different people. We see a million different pro golfers playing. Everyone's got their own type of swing and their own type of swing thought, and their own type of way to prepare for the round of golf and kind of practice. It's just like, you got to almost at some point just swing your swing and hope that all of those tips you can take a little bit, or maybe you can find the commonality amongst all of them and be like, what are they all trying to do? What are they all at some point what are they all achieving by doing that take back or that one drill? And then you just got to you got to hone in on something, because there's too much, right? You can watch Jim Furyk swing and you can watch fucking Freddie Couples swing. You can watch Tiger Woods swing. They all have different swings, but somehow, some way they hit the ball to 3 feet from the fucking pin. So I don't know what the answer is at the end of the day when someone asks me that.
Tip culture in golf makes sense though, because it's such a hard sport that everybody's looking for something. Like the swing is so intricate, and everyone is 98%, 99% of people who play the game are pretty bad at it and will hit, when they go out, they'll probably hit more bad swings than good swings. And everyone's just looking for that next thing. Like, if it were easier, if it were simple, no one would be giving advice, because it's like, oh, we all got this. I'm with you though. When I'm watching TikTok, I'll watch one. It won't even be a tip video. It'll be like a Tiger Woods edit set to a Future song. And then next thing you know, I've got a guy who's, got a human-sized fucking contraption around him, and he's trying to fix his swing. And then you're just in it. But it's not surprising. Like, they're just feeding you what you want, because it's so hard. Like, that tall to small, it's dumb and it's stupid, but like, that's all I'm going to think about until the next time I play. And it's like, might as well get as many tips as you can. And if they work, they work. If they don't, just toss them.
I'm inching much closer to subscribing to Kawa Shallow's paywall tips.
He's got to pay.
Have you noticed that he now puts everything behind a paywall? He does like, dude.
I think I was one of the first people on. Definitely this podcast. I was telling you guys about this guy, but when I was watching him, he only had like 8,000 likes on a video or whatever. Now he's everything's translated. He's gone big time. He's Americanized.
He's got 1 million followers on Instagram.
Frankie just pulled out his earbuds.
Fireworks.
Oh,
better
nice.
hope so.
Me. I mean, sounded like the end of the world out there, but it's fireworks. He's made it big time now, which I'm not against. Shout out to Kawa Swing. But yeah, no, he's definitely. I saw that it's behind a paywall now. Good for him. Make the cash. People are watching and they start paying. But yeah, no, if you could get his swing, the smoothest swing in the world. I mean, that guy makes fucking Freddie Couples look like he's got like Tourette's.
Dude, he started doing the play a hole with too. It's like Kawa on the course.
Oh, dude, when he hits those irons, the piercing irons, and those like Japanese mountain range golf courses, and they flutter onto the green backdrop. You just see them; they're perfectly launched. Oh, but then all the comments are funny. They're like, "How do you not shoot a 52 every round?" Like this guy is perfect. He's got to be doing something wrong.
Get ready for game day with the latest addition to the Barstool Sports rival collection, Barstool College. Shady Rays has partnered with Barstool Sports to bring you a new lineup of premium, polarized shades that are perfect for showing off your team pride. They're also perfect for the golf course. I always rock shades out on the golf course pretty much exclusively unless it's not sunny out. I just like it. I like to not be squinting out there. Shady Rays makes them high quality where you can see everything still. It actually makes it easier to see not harder. And the Barstool College Collection features bold colorways inspired by some of the biggest names in college sports, ensuring you'll find the perfect pair to rep your team, whether you're at the tailgate or in the stands. These shades deliver all-day comfort and top-notch performance. I know you two are loving the new Shady Rays.
Yeah, I've got my cloth case right here in my office because my actual Shady Rays are in my my car. That's where I like to have my Shady Rays on. Obviously, you're driving, the sun comes down, it's glaring right into your eyes. You got to be able to protect your eyes, not only on the golf course, everyday life. I've got mine just right there in my car. Every time I get in, I throw them on. I look fantastic. I feel great, and they came in this nice customizable Barstool Shady Rays cloth case. It's amazing. You bring this around with you, you feel like $1 million. Shady Rays is really doing the damn thing.
Head over to shadyrays.com. Use the code FORE, F-O-R-E, to get 35% off. That's 35% off. Great deal of polarized sunglasses. See for yourself why over 300,000 people have rated these shades 5 stars. That is shadyrays.com. Use the code FORE.
You know what? The one thing, and I'll finish on this. We get back to the President's Cup if we want, because we do have to finish that up, and we have great merchandise, by the way, in the store. If you want to rep this team, we've got old school looking stuff that's going to last forever. It's vintage looking gear that you're going to want. You're going to want to wear it to the bars. You're going to want to wear it to the golf course. I'm telling you right now, when you see this stuff, the quality, the hat that Riggs is wearing, I got the quarter zip, just the red, white, and blue. It's clean. So clean. It's so comfortable. Awesome stuff. President's Cup. We've got great stuff. Go check it out. One of the things that you will notice, and I'm a victim of it, you're definitely a victim of it, Riggs is a victim of it. We don't know all the swing thoughts. We don't know all the swing tips. Really, even especially a guy like Dana, who's just learning how to play golf, and he's really getting good at it from where he started. He's progressing a lot. There's a lot of shots he just doesn't even know how to attempt, let alone the swing thoughts and all of the tips and all that stuff. Like, there's certain things where, like, he's stepping up to a flop shot situation and he has a pitching wedge in his hand. So right there, like, that situation, he's 20 yards off the green. He's got a bunker in front of him. He has the wrong club in his hand. That is more information that you need to watch all the TikToks, like, to learn certain things. You watch a Phil Mickelson video. He's like, hey, very simply, when you have a chip that you want to get up in the air, put it to your front foot and open up the club face. When you have a chip that you want to get low and you want to run it, and he shows you visually all of these situations. Hey, this is what the green will look like, and this is the type of shot. I'm not saying how to do it. I'm not saying all the things, the grip and all. Just, this is where you should start. Back foot for low, front foot for high. And I told this to Dana, and he started to hit these shots, and he's like, I wouldn't have even tried to do that because I don't know this game. Like, I told you this, Riggs, about playing hockey. Like, I would play roller hockey, and I'm like, I don't know the fundamentals. I know how hockey works. I know how to play in air quotes hockey. I watch it. I'm able to understand it. I can somewhat do the basics. I don't know the fundamentals. I don't know when to cross over in certain situations. I don't know when to curl the stick or how, you know what I mean? There's certain things I don't even know how to start attempting. That's like the baseline of getting better. I do it with my dad all the time. Like, Dad, you're hitting the wrong club. You're not bad. You're just hitting the wrong club. You don't even know what to do in this situation. You're hitting a 3-wood from 175 yards out. Of course it's running through the green. You'll never land it on it, ever. It's like, it's impossible. So yeah, that's the part that I'm seeing the more that we play and the more that I don't know. I always like to be more of a teacher than like a student. Like I really like unlocking that in people's brain because they're better athletes than I am. And I like to be like, dude, no, you're doing it wrong. Do this. And then they hit the flop shot right in the hole. It's like, holy fuck. Like, now work on that.
When so many different people talk, or, you do hypotheticals about, if you had a tour caddy, how many shots would you could you save in a round with this person? I really do think that the course management, game management, all that side of the game, there's so many people I know that I play golf with that are so much more gifted in just like the natural physical part of the game of golf than I am, or than a lot of people are, that shoot a million because of that exact reason right there, where it's like they'll stand in the middle of the fairway and flush a shot and airmail the green by 20 yards. And I'm like, dude, I can't remember the last time ever that I hit an iron that I hit well that went over a green, like ever. Yeah. Like, that's like, right. That just can't happen. That never happens. Like, how did you allow that to happen? Because as we know, playing enough golf and all these different golf courses, over the green on almost every hole in the world is fucking dead. You're dead. And just short of the green on almost every hole in the world, unless you got some rare Florida course where there's water, but like generally just short of the green is totally fine. You're like chipping uphill. You got a simple look at it. Worst case, you make a bogey, but you're not making double, versus going over the green, you're out of the fucking hole. And it's like that with chips, where it's like you're saying, okay, if you've got like a little bit of a tucked pin, you don't have a ton of green to work with, if you just put that ball in the front of your stance with an open club face and a 60 or 54 degree wedge and take a simple motion, not even that different than a putting motion, it's going to come out high and soft. And even if it's not right next to the pin, you're on the green and you're putting, and you're probably just going to make a bogey, and that's completely fine at our skill level. Versus, dude, you watch guys come out and they've got it in the back of their stance with like a pitching wedge, like you're saying, and they hit it and it runs through the green. Now they've got like another chip, and you're like, dude, how are these people?
Idea, yeah.
How's everybody fucking this thing up? And like you're saying, people just don't know. And I think that part of the game, I think that's what makes golf so infuriating and so impressive when someone's good at it, is that there's so many different parts of it that you have to be good at. It's like there's driving the golf ball is a hilariously difficult skill. You're trying to hit a ball 3 football fields straight into like a narrow area that if you miss it by a couple degrees where your club face is turned left or right, you're hitting it off the planet and you're out of it. And then if you do that, okay, you're in like the rough. Well, now you got to judge how to hit like a 6-iron or something out of grass that's this tall, and then think about how to get it up near the green. And then if you're able to do that, you might be in a gigantic pit of fucking sand that somehow is like in this park that's in New York. And then you have to learn that you have to hit a shot where you actually don't even make contact with the golf ball. You're just hitting sand and splash it onto a green. And then if you're able to do that, you have to like perfectly judge how to roll a ball on tightly mowed grass that's totally unlike anything else you've done. It's like, how in the fuck are you supposed to be able to do all these things at the same time? It's just, it's infuriating. And I think that for people, like, I honestly think that's such a reason that golf is a barrier to entry. Yes, it's expensive and all that. That's a huge part of it. But it's also like, dude, where do you even start to begin if you're getting into the game of golf to where you could play the game at an enjoyable level and it doesn't just suck? Because we all know, like, when you just play fucking terrible, yes, it's fun. And, this beats a day at work. We get all that. But it also kind of like fucking sucks to be spending all this money.
It's tough. When you're doing
anything,
anything
out there for 5 hours, you know.
When you're doing anything poorly, you don't want to continue to do it, but for some reason, golf keeps you coming back because it is a great time. It's outdoors, it's fun. You're with your friends, you're having drinks, whatever. There's a lot more that comes with it than just hitting the golf shot. But it's almost like the reason I brought it up is because I almost think if you're starting out in golf, you should almost worry more about it should come with a handbook similar to the rules of a board game, where it's like, very simply telling you situations to put yourself in for success, as opposed to the certain swings. Like, don't right when you're starting, don't obsess over what I just said about Tiger Woods, where his hips are flying. Yes, you need to learn like the actual swing and the form and all of that stuff and the fundamentals. But very simply, it should be a bullet list. Like, when there's wind in your face, tee it up lower. When there's wind at your back, tee it up high and swing swing up on it. When you want to get a wedge up in the air and you have like something in front of you, put it in the front of your foot and flop it, like open up the club face. When you want to run a chip shot, put it on the back of your foot and lean the shaft. Like little things like that. Just so if someone looked at this handbook, you could be the worst golfer in the world. At least when you set up for that shot, you're now set up for at least some success. We can work on the actual fundamentals as we learn it. But if you're practicing the wrong stuff for years upon years upon years, you're not actually getting any better. There's like certain situations. Golf's actually more simple than we think. And I think the pros have unlocked that. They know every single shot and how to address it. And then they were able to perfect that swing. Like, it took me forever to realize where to put the fucking ball in my feet, towards the front of my foot, back of my foot, whatever it might be, in the middle if I want a neutral one. It took me forever to do that. Kisner was like smacking me on the back of the head, being like, why are you, like, you're set up for failure. Of course you're not hitting correctly. How many years did I waste trying to chip that way? We need the fundamentals. Right. You have to send out the fundamentals before anything, because then you'll get better. I'm telling you, dude, something unlocked with me when I was playing with Dana. I watched an athlete. This guy's a good athlete, basketball player, baseball player, did the whole entire deal. I watched him do certain things that were just set up for failure. We fixed it, and he fucking flushed it. Like, everything started to get better. And he's like, I didn't even know to do that. Had I known, I would have been practicing that. He's like, I felt like an asshole now. I've been doing this for 2 years. So, yeah, it got me going. Like, I got like, it really, really got me going. I also feel like one of those hockey players that never played. Well, you see a hockey coach that like never played fucking hockey before, and you're like, well, what are you going to tell me? Like, I don't actually know how to play golf, but we do have, like, we've been doing this long enough, and we have talked to some of the top people in the world of golf, and we're starting to gain a little bit of knowledge. This seems to be the common thing where it's like, learn the actual shot first, learn what you're fucking doing.
You ever notice what Scotty Scheffler is working on all the time is just his grip?
Yeah. Right.
He's always standing there working on his grip. He's on the range. He's got that little training aid or whatever it is that's like
the 6-iron.
And it puts his hands perfectly. And then when he stands there and he's on a tee box and it's a delay, it's a par 5 or whatever, a drivable par 4, and they can't hit, he's standing there, dude. He's just looking at and working on his grip all the time. And that is the basic, most fundamental thing in this whole game, is how you hold the club. And like, the best ball striker in history is grinding on what his grip looks like. Like, how much does that tell you how far off our grip is on any given swing if he's grinding that hard on his grip? And it's not his backswing. It's not getting tall to small. It's not his fucking hips spinning off the planet. It's like, he's literally just sitting there staring and working on muscle memory of how precisely to put his hands on the club, which is the most simple thing in the world. And it just reminds you of like, fuck me, that is the most fundamental thing on the planet. And if that guy's doing that, it's like, you got to get the fundamentals right. And if you don't, you have no chance. Like, none.
Yeah. If I could give homework to anyone that's trying to get better at the game of golf, if you're at a beginner level, write down on a notebook or on your notes or whatever, go look up what are those situations I just said. And I think it's going to help you out. Certain things, ball position in certain situations. Hey, where should the ball relatively be on a 5-iron? Should it be in the front? Should it be in the back? Should it be neutral? If you just learn certain things and you have that in your phone, and the next time you have a 5-iron, the next time you're trying to hit a 200-yard shot, 180-yard shot, whatever it might be, just put it in the spot that you read about, that you saw. Oh, generally we put the ball here. And then I think as you continue to do that, you're going to get better. You're practicing the wrong way, I think. A lot of people are doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong with putting. I should be doing this with putting. There's a certain way to putt. You put your ball over, you put your head over the ball a certain way. You stand a certain, a certain amount of feet away from the ball. You move your shoulders a certain way. Everyone kind of does it, no matter what it looks like. And I just don't do that. I just keep putting like an asshole, and I'm not getting better at it. I'm not practicing it. I'm not doing it here. So I am a victim of it. But yeah, I've just been, because then it's so frustrating. You can watch, and we can get to this, Billy Horschel, Rory McIlroy. You can be like Billy Horschel, win a golf tournament against one of the best players in the world, and you could be holding the fucking putter down like fucking Happy Gilmore. Did you see that clip? I mean, this guy, Billy Horschel, has the most unorthodox shit of all time. There's really no way to learn the correct way of golf. You just got to know the basics of it and then get better and get to the level of Billy Horschel. Billy Horschel, go watch that guy putt. He inches up to it like he's having like a brain situation. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen.
He's trying
There's
to
no
sneak
fundamental
up
there.
Trying to sneak up on the golf ball.
Yeah, I'm ranting. I'm going crazy.
No, you make a really good point. I think the basics are, if you don't know those, then you're just going out there and you're probably not even doing the same thing twice ever.
That's a great point. You're never doing the same thing. So you're not actually practicing correctly. I've watched people look at me, my dad, Dana, a couple of my friends that I've said these to recently, and it's like their eyes kind of go like after they do it, they're like, I didn't even know. Our own guy, Brendan, I did a little thing with him around chipping where I was like, just try this for me. Just try and tap this ball as soft as you possibly can. You're just trying to land it right here. And he did it. He looked at me. He's like, why have I been trying to swing like this my whole life around the green? I didn't know if I just hit it on the center of the club face, it pops that amount of distance. Now I'll go practice that, and I'm going to be sick around the greens. It unlocks something. Go get excited about the game. Go find something so simple that you want to work on it right now. You're listening to this on a fucking Tuesday. Write down something in your phone, get to a driving range, get to a chipping area, go in your backyard this weekend when you have some time, and get excited about the little things, the simple things. Don't try and become Tiger Woods tomorrow. find something that you can work on that's actually improving yourself, you know?
Yeah, I remember we had Trevor Immelman on. We were in his house when we interviewed him that one time, and he was saying a thing that Tiger would do is he would just have his putter for all he would work on was putting, and would just carry his putter around the putting green and just figure out the little things. Like everyone's like, when you get to the range, you're like, all right, I got to hit my driver a few times. I got to hit my 5-iron. I got to hit my 6-iron. But he was like, just find one club and get really good at that. And then do another club another day. And it's like, that's how you get better. And again, I'm talking to you as a guy who I've gotten a little bit better, obviously, but
gotten better. Gotten way better.
Yeah, no, I definitely have, but there's still so much, I would say, basic shit that I don't know. And it's like,
I've watched Trent deal with this, man. He goes to Tillery and he comes back and he hits a perfect bunker shot. I'm like, well, what changed? He's like, well, we're trying this out now. And really all he's trying out is the ball's way more ahead of him. It's way more on his front foot, and he's uncomfortably opening up the club face, and he's just swinging through the sand. Like, there's little things that Tillery's looking at and being like, I'm not turning you into Rory McIlroy right now. I'm just showing you the situation that will bring you the most success. And then you can get all handsy, do whatever the fuck you want. Get this ball out of the bunker however you feel comfortable. But this is how you do it. And this is how it goes up in the air.
Punching out from under a tree.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I know how to do that, but like a guy like Dana probably like doesn't.
And I'm getting better at that the more I do that, because I'm hitting my drives under the trees more often. And I'm learning. I asked someone, I asked Trotty, how do we do this? Ball, all right, mate, ball all the way the back of your foot, take a 4-iron and do an abbreviated follow through, and the ball will just jump off the middle of the club face and it will go. You can hit that thing as soft as you possibly want. As long as you hit it in the middle of the center of the club face, it will jump 160 yards right down the fairway, exactly where you want to go. There is no swing. There's no swing. It's just straight take back.
Dude,
watch the center of the club face hit that little white ball that's sitting there. Just actually watch it hit the middle of the center of the club face and watch it jump. You're only trying to get it moving. That's all.
It'll work so well that you'll want to do it in the middle of the fairway on a par 4. You're like, why don't I just hit this thing 160 yards? Because I know it's going to go that far.
Yep. And maybe your first couple times you try it, you're going to like shank it. You're going to cold shank it. You're going to hosel it. If that is the right place to do it. Uncomfortably put it as far back as possible and come down on a 4-iron and just watch this thing fucking laser beam down the fairway. And you're going to love it. You're going to fucking love the game. You're going to become obsessed with wanting to hit little punch shots now. You're going to be happy you went into the trees.
The dog days of summer are finally coming to an end. It's officially fall, meaning cooler temperatures are on their way with the changing seasons fast approaching. We want to tell you about our favorite pants from Peter Millar, the signature sateen 5-pocket pant. It bridges the gap between casual and sophisticated, meaning you can dress them up or down with ease. I wear these to dinner. I wear them on the golf course. You can wear them to a meeting. You can wear them for a flight. The sateen 5-pocket pants, gents, are perfect for every occasion.
You can wear them to a wedding, nice summer wedding. Mm-hmm. You pair it with a nice blazer. They're so trimmed. They're so tapered. Everything about them feels great. They look great. I've been actually stepping out of my shell a little bit, and I've been wearing like vibrant colors of these recently. I've been wearing some royal blues, and I've been getting a lot of comments on the videos, DMs. Dude, what are those pants? Like we need to get those. They look great. They're popping. I like that you're able to pair them with a nice vibrant color hat and a nice, solid color shirt. I'm all about these pants. You guys know how much of a pant guy I am. When I make a birdie, I pull my pant up. That's all I've been doing with Peter Millar's. It's only been Peter Millar. Even before we were partners with Peter Millar, it was Peter Millar pants. Those are the only ones I loved. I'm telling you, they're great. They're fantastic.
Easy to style colors paired with the perfect fit, sure to make the signature sateen 5-pocket pant a must-have for your everyday wardrobe. Head on over to petermillar.com/foreplay. You can shop the signature sateen as well as all the rest of Peter Millar's lineup. I just got a bunch of new pullovers, vests. I'm going to be wearing a bunch of good stuff over these next 3 weeks. North Carolina, Montreal. I can't wait. Head on over to petermillar.com/foreplay. I fucking remember when I went and got fitted by Trotty earlier this year in like January, and we were on the range, and Trotty was just getting so fed up with me. And He's like, I could see in your fucking brain. He's like, I could see that you've got all these swing thoughts that everybody's giving you, and you're trying to do the perfect. What happened to Trent? Trent just went
Trent
dark.
just went dark.
Dude, I tried to move my charger from my laptop to my phone because my phone's about to die, and I think I broke the circuit breaker. I don't know what happened. I'm just in the darkness now. Keep going.
You look like you look like Frank the Tank in that clip where where the power went out.
That's how I feel. All right, keep going, Riggs. You were making a good point.
He was like, I need to unlock your brain. He's like, I could tell trying to hit these drivers. He's like, you're not even having fun with it. You're so caught up with like what it's supposed to look like and what the swing is supposed to be. And you're supposed to get here, the hands here. He's like, I put a stick, like a alignment stick in front of me. And he was like, I want you to think Mac Boucher, and I want you to start this ball left of this fucking post and have it land way over there on the right. Like, I want you to stand up here and just hit a big cut. And you can just do it. Like, your body can just do it. You can figure out how to do it by simply standing up there, having fun, being creative, and fucking doing it. And then he was like, now I want you to aim way over here to the right, and I want you to figure out how to hit like a big hook draw around this. And he's like, think Mac Boucher. And I hit one, and it would start right, and it wasn't like draw. And that was the thing that I was struggling with, but it was going dead straight. And he's like, well, mate, how fun is that? And I was like, oh, yeah, it didn't draw. And he's like, yeah, guess what? You just aimed over there, and you fucking roasted one that went dead straight. And he's like, that's awesome. He's like, now figure out how to draw it. And you're hitting 3, 4, 5 drives in a row. And eventually your body figures out that, like, I'm going to draw this golf ball. I'm going to make this thing. He's like, hook it, fucking hook it if you have to. Start it over there and just standing on the range. And you're 100% right, Frankie, where you're like, dude, these are the places to figure this shit out. Just go out there and go to the range, go to the chipping area if it's a short game shit that you want to work on, or putting or whatever. And like, just do it. And I remember that from that range session. And a lot of times when I get fed up with the swing, or I've got the driver yips, whatever, I will go to the range and I'm just like, dude, I'm going to hit circus shots on this range with my driver right now. And it is fun that you realize, like, after 5-10 swings, if I call it out in my own head, I can just hit a cut. I can make the ball fucking fade. And if I have to hit like a big draw, maybe it's not going to swoop like fucking Mac Boucher, but you can make the ball move right to left. And it's fucking amazing. And yet then when you're standing out there on the golf course and you're trying to just hit the center of the green, it's like, why are you trying to be this robot that a 9-iron flies 147 yards? So I will now hit it. And instead, like, you're just like Trent just fucking said, where he's like, dude, it makes you want to just hit this little knockdown back of your stance shot 160 yards, no matter what club it is. It's like, why the fuck don't we do that all the time? Instead of being like, I have to fly this 8-iron 160. It's like, why don't you take a little 6-iron, put it in the back of your stance or whatever you got to do, and like punch one into the middle of the green? How many fucking strokes would we save just doing that every time?
And I'm sure if Alex puts out a clip of this, every comment's going to be like, why the fuck am I going to listen to a swing tip from a guy that can't break 100? But I hope that he puts this part in also, where it's like, we're not saying that this stuff is going to make us better or anyone. We're just saying that there is a specific amount of things that will make you better at golf. It's up to you to practice those things. I don't practice them enough. That's why I'm not getting better.
100%.
Maybe I'm not blessed by the Lord to be able to hit certain shots. I know the situations to put myself in. I've played enough golf at this point. I've met enough people. We do know the basics of each shot at this point. There's a couple things that they're still out there. We don't know certain shots how to hit. I don't know how to hit like the 1-2 bounce and zip it back off the green like a Colin Morikawa. Remember that one shot that he hit that just stopped on a dime that still no one to this day knows how he hit it? Like, we don't know how to do that. I've never been able to ask him, hey, where'd you put the ball in that? Like, what was your thought coming down? I don't get to practice that. I don't even know how he attempted it. We're just saying, find the little simple things, learn those things, and then work on them. I don't know. I think the game should come with a fucking, here's how you do it. Very simple, like you're playing Sorry or you're playing Monopoly, where it's like just dashes and it's like chip, back foot, low, chip, high, front foot, like simple shit. So you can pull it out and just be like, oh, I have this shot. Let me try this.
I think this has been a very important segment because, well, we've done like the coolest shit that you can in golf. Like, we got to hit shots with Tiger Woods and we've gotten to play against X amount of pros and it's been awesome. But also, and that's all very exciting and fun, but what's also very exciting and fun is like, hit a shot off your back foot and see what happens. That's also fun. Like, if you want to learn it, hit a shot off your front foot and see what happens then. That's also fun. I think this is an important, like,
So true.
we do such cool shit that it's like people are like, I don't know what these guys are talking about. They're playing with, they're playing against Max Homa. They're playing against Billy Horschel at TBC Sawgrass. And it's like, I don't know what the fuck it's awesome hearing about it, but I don't even know how to relate to any of that. But then it's also, we can talk about stuff like this where it's like, hit a ball off your back foot and you'll be able to improve your game way, way better. I think it's good.
Just act like you're trying to stop the swing after you make contact. That was the thing. Remember that? Remember when someone told me that at TaylorMade Kingdom?
Yeah.
Where I was having trouble flushing the golf ball. I couldn't take a divot. One of my jokes used to be, I could go to the greatest golf course on earth and they wouldn't know I was there. I didn't take a single blade of grass with me. I used to blade everything. And I used to pick it. I would shoot an 88, 87. I didn't take a blade of grass. It was bizarre. I would hit good drives. I would flush this. You know how Tiger Woods says when he's flushing, he doesn't take divots. Like that's what I was doing. And I said, I really wanted to start doing it. And someone at the Kingdom said, all right, maybe it was Trotty. For the next 20 swings, swing, but try and stop your club after you make contact. Right. So it was an abbreviated follow through. I would actually make contact as if I was swinging full, and then I would stop it right after contact. And these balls would sizzle with a rising riser. And I'm like looking around, and I would take a nice div. I'd be like, what the fuck was that? And I'd do it again. And then he's like, all right, take a full swing. Bang. Nice, healthy divot goes flying into the air. And you're like, what is happening? Like, what just happened? He's like, all I taught you was to come down on it. And every, basic rule of golf will say, you got to move the ball down into the ground to get it to go up. That's like what you have to try and do. You can't lift up. You can't try and lift the ball and scoop it. It's never going to work. You have to go into it. It's a simple rule of golf. That's what I've been talking about this whole time for the last 30 minutes. That was a thing or a thought I didn't even know to think about, Yeah.
Let the loft
So
work.
I couldn't get better.
I really think, and it's something that I fucking need to do better too, is like, there is so much fun to be had in the game in just like hitting shots. And I know that sounds, but not like you're playing a video game, you're pulling a joystick straight back, straight through. Like, hit shots, try to make it move. Like, if you're on the range with your 60-degree wedge, put it in the front of your stance, open the face, and then take a normal full golf swing and just see that thing will go like 58 yards and will fly to the moon, but it still comes off the club and it feels like it might not, but like you're open in the face. And then do the exact opposite. Like you say, take that 60, put it like behind your back foot, hood the face, and then just take your normal swing and see what happens. It'll come off this low fucking skipper thing that you're like, holy fuck, I didn't know I was capable of hitting that shot. And yeah, you might shank a couple, but like that part of it is so fun. And it's almost like, I'm saying, therapeutic for us right now. We're kind of like telling each other what we should be like going out there and doing. But it is like Trent's saying, it's like, you don't have to be hitting golf shots with Tiger Woods to find how much fun there is to be had. Like Trent and I were fucking giddy on the tee yesterday when we heard tall to small. We're like, we're back. We're standing on the tee just like swinging these fucking swings, trying to squat down and get as small as we could in our down swings. And it was like, we're just having fun with it. And I think you get so fed up with the game sometimes and you're so consuming and all the different aspects of it. This golf course, and I want to make sure I remember this part of it. And I'm playing here and this caddy, and I got to make sure I know, versus like really understanding that actually just hitting shots and watching the ball fly through the sky in a cool way is fucking awesome.
Our guy, Kyle Timms, just started to play golf, edits the shit out of our videos, and amazing. Him and Jared crushing it. Obviously Alex and Brendan too, but everyone knows that. Everyone knows they're all crushing them. But Kyle Timms just starting to play golf. Someone like him is listening to this podcast, and he's getting giddy about wanting to go bring a golf ball to his backyard, put it on his front foot with a wedge, and just watch how it goes up in the air. And then when he puts it on his back foot, he's going to hit it, and he's going to watch how it goes lower. And that's going to unlock something in his brain because he just started playing golf and he has no idea that those are the things that you have to do. You know what I mean? Like that guy is listening to this being like, so obviously there's a ton of really good golfers listening to this. There's fucking country club champions. There's member guests, all these guys that are playing, that are listening to this. There's pros that are listening to this. Scotty's probably listening to this. He won't fucking answer me. But I went to Texas. I went there and I was like a little girl. Like I was subtweeting you, and he still didn't see. He didn't text me nothing. I went horns up for this man. That goes against I went, I was a Michigan man. Dave took me to the big house. That was my first love. And now I'm going to, Texas, and I'm throwing up the horns. Like, you got to say something like, hey man, you look good out there. Nothing. No response.
It was shades of like going to the place where your significant other has been and has an opinion and like is really in love with that place. And you're like, oh, I'm just out here having a drink. And you're waiting for them to DM you being like, oh my God, I love that place.
Heard nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. What a waste. But yeah, man, I think people, even if you're at the highest level of golf, there's still something to be learned from this conversation. I think we're all just kind of talking it out right now. And we all love this game, and we love it a lot. I don't think I practice the right things enough to get better. So it's like you need to say it out loud to kind of push yourself to do it. And that's like, I'm trying to get to a certain level, but everyone's trying to get to a certain level. Trent's trying to break 85. I'm trying to break par for the first time in my life. The closest I've come is 75. I had to play the best round of my life to do it. And I want to get better. I can't make putts. I got to figure it out. What am I missing? What's the simple thing that I'm missing to fall in love with learning how to putt? I don't know what it is. I got to search for it. I got to find it. I need someone to tell me what it is. So we can end it there. I mean, it's been great talking about this stuff. I think, fall in love with the simple shit and try and get better in simple shit. That's the best part.
It's a beautiful message.
It's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful game. It's a fucked game.
TD Tutty taking it to the house in for 6. Whatever you call touchdown, one thing's for sure. Touchdowns matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. On the ground, in the air, from the special teams or defense. We don't care how they score them. We want to bet on touchdowns, and DraftKings Sportsbook is delivering. It really is an extremely fun way to watch the games. You get in, you got the group chat, you got your buddies, whether you're at the bar, on text, whatever it might be. You're fired up when somebody scores a touchdown. DraftKings is the best place to do it.
Are any of us still involved? Are any of us still alive? End zone crown? Anybody still alive?
No, I picked Alvin Kamara. I know that Riggs did as well. I saw that on the socials. Tough one today. Just, you can't believe that we picked the guy that he has 4 touchdowns in 2 games, whatever it was, and now we just picked the one that he didn't. Nothing. Didn't even come close. That game was such a dud. I mean, there was no brutal points in that Eagles-Saints game. It was disgusting, except for Saquon, who should have just taken him. But that's the great part about DraftKings and all of these anytime touchdowns is that there's a game tonight, there's a game tomorrow, and I will be on that. There's college football, all these anytime touchdowns, or I love betting the overs in college football. It's great. It's absolutely great. I have this new TV set up in the basement. I'm seeing every single game. I got action on all of them. I'm looking for touchdowns everywhere I can get them. Houston Texans are playing, I'm in on them. The Colts are in, I'm in on him. I'm on Jonathan Taylor. I'm on CJ Stroud. I'm looking. My eyes are all over the place. I got anytime touchdown scores coming out of you wouldn't even believe. It's great. It's awesome. I mean, I love just having it. It makes watching the game for me like actually meaningful. I even if it's the smallest amount, I love having some action on these games.
Are you ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? Well, new DraftKings customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use our code, which is Fore, Fore, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. You mentioned Billy Horschel, and
congratulations.
Did you guys watch that finish? What a great tournament that thing was. The BMW, Wentworth, it came down to Billy, Rory. There was that Lawrence fellow was in there, but he struggled on the first playoff hole. But how about Billy Ho going birdie,
7 birdies in a row on Sunday.
7 birdies in a row.
That was today, right? Or that was yesterday? That was yesterday.
That was Saturday. But then he went, dude, he finished birdie, and then birdied the first playoff hole, and then eagled the second playoff hole.
Crazy.
When Rory had already hit like a 4-iron from 250 into the middle of the green, he goes out there and just stuffs one inside of him. He hit it to like whatever it was, 20-something feet, but from 230 or 40 yards, that's stuffing it. And then makes the putt after Rory barely burns the edge. And Billy, like, we love Billy. He's turned into one of our favorites out there. We've had a great time. We were drinking whiskey with him at at Sawgrass after we played him in the match down there like a year and a half ago. And then every time we see him, he's great. He's funny. He came on the show right after he was emotional last year after shooting that 84 or whatever it was at the Memorial. And he was candid and real. He's been open and honest about all the live stuff. He's just fucking great. But for him to go out there, then take down Rory, and then you could literally tell, and he said it basically afterwards, like he felt bad for Rory. And Rory had come up so close so many times this year, and yet here he was sort of the antagonist in the situation in England. People were rooting for Rory, and he kind of went out there and stole the tournament. But congratulations to Billy Horschel. That was fucking baller to finish the way that he did.
It's great to see him win because, it's a great way to kind of conclude what we were just talking about, where it can be unorthodox and it can be all these things, but he's figured out a way to make, to make his success be kind of simple in his own brain. Like he finds it easier to creep up to a putt when he's like 5 feet in, and he just thinks that to him just looks better, feels better, whatever it is. He practices that. He figured out a way to do it, and now he's just doing it at the highest level in the world. That's such a look into someone that didn't have to go by the book, and they went out and they just practiced the little things and found what worked for him. That's amazing for Billy.
Right. That's what I was going to say. But he's tried everything. Like he's on the other end of it. You know what I mean? Like the people we're talking to for the last half hour or so are people who are just kind of getting into trying these things. Billy is on the other end of it where he's like, I've tried everything.
And it never ends.
It never ends. And you just stumble upon or you discover the thing that works for you. And for Billy, like you said, it's him trying to sneak up on the golf ball when he's putting it. And then he beat Rory McIlroy doing that. So, it's working. And you'll find that stuff along the way where you find the thing you're most comfortable with. It's the most reliable. And then boom, I can do that going forward. But yeah, I love Billy Horschel. That's a huge win for him. I still feel bad for Rory. I love that guy too. He's really had quite a year in terms of just misses, but it's a great tournament. It's a really, really great tournament.
It is. Get it out of the system now, Rory. Just keep fucking losing this year. Who cares? This year we're chalking it up. It's the year where he blew the U.S. Open, finished second, couldn't get it done. Just finish second every tournament this year. Who cares? And then when we turn the calendar and we turn that thing over to next year, he's back. 2025.
The Irish.
This one. The flip side and the silver lining of it is that, and the reality of it is that he's always there. He's just really up there all the time. He's playing so well that he's able to have chances where he blows it. And it's not going to make him feel any better. But if you keep giving yourself chances, you're probably going to win eventually. Statistically, you're going to go over the hump. And Rory, listen, he's already a Hall of Famer. He's already got majors. He's already won so many golf tournaments, so he knows this. But putting yourself in a position, it's almost like you're saying, oh my gosh, he missed all these chances, but he's still putting himself in that position. And most guys aren't doing that week to week. So we're penalizing him for playing so well that he almost wins.
Well, it's interesting. Golf is not like the other sports, and I'm always weary of a team that makes it really far, and then you're like, holy shit, they got to do that whole thing next year. It's a full year season. Like, you think about the Rangers, right? They make it all the way, and then at the very end, they just can't make it happen. It's like, oh God, next year you need it all to happen again. You got to stay healthy. You need guys to score 50 goals. You need Panarin to put up 100 points. You need Shesterkin. You need all these things. It all needs to happen again. You need the teams around you not be as strong. You need it all has to fall in line. And when you're that close, it feels like it's never going to come back. But then you also look at like the Tampa Bay Lightning were knocking on the door for years, and then they finally break through and they win. Vegas Golden Knights, it's the same deal. With golf, it is such a, you get into a rhythm from week to week that you really don't have to feel that way about a guy. It does somewhat feel like, how many fucking chances are we going to blow? These could all be wins. These could be major wins. These could be tournament wins. We could be racking up statistics at this point. But he's in such a groove this year, and it's a shame because it is a negative. You're taking a negative feeling away from Rory McIlroy in the year 2024, but he's playing outrageously well, where he's in contention in every single tournament he's playing in, to the point where it's like, like we're making fun of the guy for like blowing massive leads in biggest tournaments in the world. Like that guy's playing outrageous golf. He's making so many putts and birdies and eagles. Like think about how good that guy's playing. He's beating 99.9% of the rest of the world all the time. And just like at the very end, one guy just slips in and beats him. It's like, all right, well, so yeah, there's really no way to feel down about him. If Tiger Woods had the year that Rory had this year, we would be like walking close to the edge. Because like there's not many more chances. Hopefully that's not true. But statistically and just like the way life is going, there's not that many more chances for this guy to secure some victories. And if Tiger Woods was like this close every single time and he was like losing at the end, we'd be like jumping off cliffs. You know what I mean? Because it's just they're in different parts of their lives. He's fine.
Rory's got 15 more years left.
Yes.
Tiger, it's very different.
The closest comparison to the team sports is the wait in between majors, because that's all that matters for Rory right now. I mean, if he wins at Wentworth this week, that doesn't change his legacy at all. In any way, and he knows that.
It actually adds to like the negative side of it, where he's like he can win everything else except for the majors these last 10 years. It's almost like a negative spin that the assholes will put on it. Like, oh, go win Wentworth. You can't win the U.S. Open. Like, holy shit.
I think he just. I think the issue is that it's been now to be 11 years since he's won a major championship, that like we know he's good enough. We know he's playing well enough. It's that like we all understand that golf completely changes when you're in certain situations and you feel a certain way. And clearly Rory has not handled those situations well enough over the last decade to get it done. And so that is, I think, like that's the only real negative that I could take away, is he building up more and more as he finishes second over and over again in these events, even if they're majors or not majors? Like, is he building up sort of that tension? Is the monkey getting heavier and heavier on his back in these like moments, which it felt like it did at the U.S. Open, missing those putts?
God, 18's like, still a tough putt, man.
18's tough putt.
I've gone back and watched it. 16 was a miss. 16's like
16's 2.5 foot dead straight putt. You just got to make that. Like, and I'm saying, I was getting into this with people last week at Pinehurst. I know everybody agrees that the putt on 18 was a really tough putt. It's also 3.5 feet, and he's supposed to be a top 10 player in the history of golf. Does Tiger Woods miss that putt on the 72nd hole of the U.S. Open? It's 3.5 feet. I get that it was a hard putt. It's 3.5 feet. Like, fucking bury that thing in the heart.
Bryson had a really tough wedge shot, a bunker shot. You know what I mean? Like, there's all tough shots to win the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I think, like, when you were saying hockey teams or football teams or whatever, where you have to do it all over again the next year, I think that is very analogous to what happened at Pinehurst to Rory. Like, you got to play that well again. Scotty's not in the mix. Like, you got to have a good Friday. You got to have a good Thursday. Rory's not a great tournament starter. He'll just blow it on Thursday and Friday, and it never happens. So he got through at Pinehurst. So, all right, now we're on to Saturday. I'm playing well. Kind of the big dogs are out of it, the big guys who've been winning them. All right, now we're at Sunday, and I've got a lead, and I'm building this, and it's right in front of me. I've got the lead with 4 holes to go, and then you blow it on 16, you blow it on 18. Now you got to, I mean, the next major's coming, but you got to wait a year for the next U.S. Open. Like, that is what would devastate me if I were Rory.
Right, it could be like the Bills. They made it to, 4 Super Bowls in a row, lost them all.
Is that right, Bush?
Off.
Dude, yes. And then they just like never make it again.
Gotcha.
So it's just like you never know when it's going to come around.
Same
you just
with
don't
Rory,
know when those times.
Same with Rory at St. Andrews. Just had it on Sunday. If he makes 3 putts, he wins the 150th Open Championship at St. Andrews, and that does change his legacy because he finally got over the hump. He got it at such an iconic place in an iconic year, and he burns every edge. Cam Smith lights it on fire in the back 9, and it's his. And it's just another one that Rory didn't win. Though you are right. Like, I think each individual major is a playoff series, is a playoff run in golf. And because you have 4 days where you got to build it. Thursday, you can't win. What do they say? You can't win it the first days, but you certainly can lose it. And that's what Rory has done more times than he would like over the course of the last 11 years. And so when you finally put yourself in a position to do it and don't execute and win, devastating.
Maybe he's been on a podcast and has answered this. I haven't
on ours.
Seen him. Hopefully it's ours. I'd like to ask him that. Put it. He's a big sports fan. Like, put him in that situation. He obviously doesn't really want to talk about him not winning majors and collapsing and stuff. But like, does he think, or do you guys think that he thinks, that these are opportunities wasted, and mentally is he thinking, fuck man, like I got to do that all over again? Like that's almost more daunting than not even coming close, you know?
I think that's the most reasonable way to view it. He
Right.
might look at it differently, I don't know, but you would have to think there's got to at least be part of him that's like, yeah, each one of these that I let go by, if you miss a cut, that's almost better than missing on 16.
But is it? Because like guys will say like the momentum of like finishing in second and like that's just how you stay in the mix to win the next one. And like you'd rather just always have a chance to win every single tournament you play.
I think now that I would say that, I would fall in that camp actually. That's basically the point I made, where it was like playing well enough, you got to break through eventually. You can't be the guy who's always finishing second.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think he's shown that he's very aware and conscious and thinking of it. I think he made the comments in the Full Swing where they're asking about Brooks Koepka, and he was like, yeah, of course it's tough when like the guy that's got the same amount of majors as you wins another one to go ahead of you, and like you haven't won one in 10 years. Like I think he basically said that in Full Swing.
Yeah, but I meant more like is he like going into each next major almost like carrying the weight of the last one because of how close he was? Similar to a team that was like, we were one strike away from the World Series or one save away from winning Stanley Cup. Like, is he bringing that weight onto him? And like what's that like to carry on into the next Masters? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, what does that do to a guy? I mean, that's got to add to the hard read on 18. There's so much weight there, as opposed to it just being a hard golf shot, a tough putt. There's so like, is he feeling that? You know, has he been open enough to say like, yeah, I am fucking feeling it? That 3-foot putt felt like a 30-foot putt because of what I did the last time, and because of all the years I haven't been able to do it. Because then that unlocks the issue right there.
Yeah,
Rory McIlroy, it's time to make your first appearance on the
Foreplay
Golf
Podcast.
Podcast and
on this podcast
questions.
and be like, it's too much weight, man. You know, it's clearly just too much weight.
He didn't necessarily say it, but he did. Riggs has talked about it, where he's like, I felt uncomfortable, and he wasn't referring necessarily to the last 10 years. He was more like, these are high pressure golf moments at a very important tournament. But there's got to be a part of him that's I don't want to answer for him. I want him to come on the show and answer himself.
Yeah, I guess what I was saying with that comment about the Brooks stuff was that like that tells me he is carrying all of that. Like he's saying it, you know, in his car when they're asked like, "Oh, what do you think about Brooks Koepka winning?" And he's like, "Well, fuck, I haven't won one in a decade." So I was like, I just feel like, I feel like it clearly has to. I feel like that's the only way he misses a 2.5 footer on 16. It's like and that part of it is so hard because a lot of what you're saying is in play there, where it's like, dude, he did all the hard stuff. He's driving the ball 350 yards on a 540-yard par 4. You know, it's like he's hitting a towering 8-iron in the middle of the green from like 190 yards. It's like unbelievably impressive. And then you just got to roll this fucking thing 2.5 feet in that hole, and you're missing. It's like, fuck, dude, you're doing all the hard shit. You've gotten this far. If it's the British Open, it's like you're getting the good draw of the weather and everything has to go right. You got to be healthy that week and not come down with a stomach bug. And then your driving has to be on. You get a good couple bounces that don't go in a pop bunker. They go in the fairway, and you got this chance. You don't get that chance very often. And then you just don't get it done. And then you don't get it done again. And then you don't get it done again.
It's such a common story. Unfortunately, it's like the Atlanta Falcons 28-3 lead on the Patriots, and it's just like, just close that out, you know, and they don't. And it's just it's sports. It's sport. That's what it is. And unfortunately, Rory McIlroy holds that weight in the golf world of like each year it just compounds. It just keeps piling on. That rock that he has to climb. What's that like old Greek story of the guy walking up the mountain, and then like he just can't get to the top. The weight kind of just falls on him.
He's pushing the boulder up the hill.
The boulder, yeah.
What is that guy's name?
Boulder. I don't know.
Starts with an S, I think.
Not sure either.
Alex, pull that up. What is that?
Pushing
the boulder up the hill.
Guy. Sisyphus, yeah.
What is it?
Sisyphus.
Syphilis?
Sisyphus and the rock.
In Greek mythology, Sisyphus is the character who is condemned to repeatedly roll a boulder up a hill in Hades, only to have it roll back down as it nears the top.
Feels like that boulder's, you know, it's that major boulder. And it's like, man, that thing's getting heavy. It's getting heavy.
Get all those out now. We don't need to win Wentworth. We don't need to win the Irish Open last week. Fine. Let's win a major next year. Let's win a Rory McIlroy major. He's playing well, playing great golf, hitting the ball well. Everything's solid. Made a couple birdies in the playoff. The other guy just made a fucking eagle. That's just the way it goes sometimes. I think Rory's in a great spot. When this show comes out, the Barstool Classic regular season 6, will have concluded. Barstool Classic Jacksonville will be over. All that will be left is the championship out here in November. So things are kind of rolling. We're into the fall now officially. I saw Pinehurst did their fall logo of the cradle drop, which I got incredibly excited about. Looks great. Seeing some fall foliage on Instagram and all over the place. We don't quite have the foliage yet here in Arizona, but it's that kind of year. I think that there's going to be hoodie and crew neck season up in Montreal this weekend. There's a lot of things to be excited about out there. Anybody have anything else for this here little podcast show that we do before we wrap it up?
No. I mean, I loved Texas. I thought it's a great school. Shout out to my guy Trevor. He's a huge fan of the podcast. I want to give him a shout out. Equipment guy over there for the Texas Longhorns. Really good operation. Seeing that shit behind the scenes was really cool. They got a lot of juice. This is the season that they can really do it. Arch Manning just started, dropped the 50 burger on whoever the hell they played. It was cool, man. Crazy what goes into like a big time school like that behind the scenes. The amount of laundry, man, like the amount of water pumping through that laundry room. 110 guys, they wear like 7 outfits a day, especially at a place like that. They're never leaving. Ping pong room, barber shop, like movie theater, full of like swing bays, everything. It's a fucking resort. Awesome. Really cool stuff. Love the color scheme too.
I'm obsessed with the Arch Manning thing. Like I just think, and I know Ewers is going to come back and he's going to start, but I'm like, when I watched those highlights of the first game that he played in, where it was like 5 touchdowns, was running faster than Tyreek Hill, I was like, this is the greatest quarterback that's ever going to play. And the history is obviously great with his uncles, and his dad is an athlete in his own right. And like, I'm just ready for the Arch Manning story. Like it's going to play out like a comic book almost, or like a great movie where it's like, yeah, Peyton was great, obviously, and Eli was obviously great, but then Arch Manning showed up and he played at Texas and he brought Texas back, and then he got to the like. I'm already ready for the Arch Manning story to be told. It's going to be
it's
awesome.
A great program to kind of like get romantic about. You know what I mean? There's a lot about it. Reggie, dude, we bumped into Colt McCoy when I was doing this tour. It was the most Texas thing of all time. Physically bumped into him. Oh yeah, because he was getting inducted into the Texas Hall of Fame the next day. He was kind of walking around, gave us like a what up. Yeah, just really cool. It's a really cool school, great city. That was my first time ever there. Went to the Comedy Mothership. Shout out Joe Rogan's place. Shout out to Francis, who comes on our little golf show and also is like becoming one of the greatest comedians in America right now. I mean, this guy, it's really cool to see him hit this stride right now. He's like entering the stream. There's this white water rafting kind of stream. These the white caps are kind of flying by, and it's like a really, really hard place to kind of jump into and be successful. And he's about to jump right in. You could tell he's about to just navigate these waters, and he's going to do them real well. Because he went up there at the Comedy Mothership. Rowan and I went to go see him. He went up. He did 15 minutes. And there were great comedians there. There were great comics there. I thought he murdered. He crushed more than anyone else that went up there. And these are like big-time people that he went before and after. It was fucking awesome, man. He had the place howling.
That's great.
And you could tell... Yeah. We were sitting in the back. Everyone, when he went up there, they're kind of like whispering in their ears. A lot of the guys are going to their girlfriends like, that's Francis. Oh, that's that guy Francis Ellis. He's on Tires and Netflix. Like the whole place was buzzing. It was cool, man. And we even saw, like, as we were going out like the back way at the mothership, and like someone comes up to him like, Francis, great job. We'd love to have you back tomorrow. It's just like things are happening now. He sold out all his shows on his own right, and now he's going to the mothership after. He's doing shows at 7, 10, popping in at the mothership at 11. Francis is doing the damn thing, playing driftwood in the morning. Guy's got a good gig right now. Playing good golf, and he's really hitting his stride with the comedy. He had me belly laughing, which is hard to do when you know the person.
True.
Like I went to dinner with him before he went up there. We left dinner, walked to the Comedy Store with him. He went up on the stage, and then he had me belly laughing. That's hard because I was just with him all night. You know what I mean?
Francis is a funny motherfucker, dude. He is so
great.
Fucking
it's a
funny.
great set,
and he's
so hard.
He's going to be playing with us in the PGA National event. He's our 4th.
Yes. Yep. Which I think tickets there's like a couple tickets still available. I know Good was pushing it the other day. You can come to the event, PGA National. We're playing at PGA National, so go check that out. I'm not sure where the website is at this point. It's all over our socials, so make sure you go check that out. If there are still available, make sure you check it out. Send it to your friends if you're in Florida. You got to come to PGA National. It's going to be a huge event. Streaming to both channels. It's all good, all of foreplay. It's going to be great.
Yep.
Hell yeah, check that out. Make sure you go buy tickets. We're going to have a great time. All right, we're going to wrap this thing up. We got President's Cup this week. I can't wait to get up to Montreal. Big thanks to all of our sponsors, per usual, all of our guys behind the scenes. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.